The city of Kyoto, bathed in the first gentle hues of spring, whispers stories that only hearts in love can hear. As the sun prepared to rise over the ancient temples and Sakura-lined streets, a subtle silence wrapped the city like a lover's embrace. It was a silence that didn't demand attention, but offered it. It offered space to feel, to remember, and most importantly, to love. Yet even in the calm of the morning, it felt like night. The quiet, the stillness, the soft wind brushing past made everything seem suspended between dusk and dawn. A time when thoughts of love float freely, when the soul becomes its most vulnerable, and memories from midnight still echo in the corners of the heart. The walk began at the Philosopher's Path, that famous trail in Kyoto, winding alongside a narrow canal flanked by cherry blossoms. The petals, still wet with dew, shimmered under the soft light of the early hour. Each step felt like stepping into a memory that hadn't happened yet, a future tinged with the warmth of nostalgia. Love in the stillness. There's something about early spring that makes the heart ache in the most beautiful way. It's the in-between season, a promise of warmth after cold, of color after months of gray. And perhaps that's why it mirrors love so perfectly. Just like spring, love arrives quietly, sometimes when you least expect it. It doesn't shout. It simply shows up and changes everything. As I walked, I imagined you beside me. Your footsteps would match mine in rhythm, but not in reason. I'd be walking to feel peace. You'd walk to hold my hand. I'd look at the trees. You'd look at me. And when our eyes met, when the Sakura fell like slow snow between us, our souls would remember a story they'd never forgotten. Kyoto's quiet morning would make you speak in whispers, not because you had to, but because love always speaks in low tones. And I'd listen, not just with my ears, but with everything in me. The moon that watched us fall in love. Even though it was morning, my heart still clung to the night before. Maybe it's because love, once awakened, doesn't sleep. It lingers long after the stars disappear. It hides in places like your scarf left on a park bench, or the way your laugh echoed in a narrow Kyoto alley, or how your fingers brushed mine near the Kamo River, accidentally on purpose. I remember how we sat by that river once when it was truly night. The moon was so low it almost dipped into the water. We didn't speak for long minutes. You just leaned your head on my shoulder and whispered, "This city feels like it was made for lovers who meet in dreams." And in that moment, I realized you were right. Kyoto wasn't just beautiful, it was poetic. And poetry doesn't need permission to bloom, it just needs feeling. Spring as a metaphor for us. As I continued my walk, the warmth of the rising sun began to kiss the horizon. The pale orange light painted everything in a gentle glow. The cherry trees swayed a little more freely, as if they too were waking up to love. And it hit me. Spring wasn't just a season, it was a metaphor. For us, for all we had become. You were the blossom in my winter. The first sign that something new was possible. The reminder that after all the silence and stillness, there could be music in the wind and laughter in the air again. You were not a storm, not a fire. You were the soft sunlight that made everything bloom quietly, and I was the root that had waited all along, the language of petals. Kyoto speaks in petals. Each one says something different. I miss you. I'm glad you're here. Don't go yet. They fall with such grace, it's as if gravity itself is in love with them. And maybe I understood them more than ever that morning. Maybe that's why I couldn't stop thinking about you. If I could gather every petal that fell during that walk and bottle it, I'd give it to you and say, "This is what it feels like to love you." Light, soft, fragile, and infinite. Night is where our love was born. People think love is born in daylight, in grand gestures, in fireworks and declarations. But ours was born in silence, in late night walks, in coffee shared over moonlight, in stories told without words. Even in the bright spring morning, I longed for that night feeling, that calm certainty, that depth. Maybe that's why, as the city began to wake up, I felt a strange kind of longing, not for the past, but for the sacredness of the night where love feels closest, most real. Kyoto as a love letter. Walking through Kyoto that morning, it didn't feel like a city. It felt like a love letter written over centuries. Each temple, a verse, each lantern, a comma, each bridge, a pause to breathe. And I walked through it like a reader lost in emotion, searching for your name between the lines.